Genre isn't what you think. It's not one thing. It's two: narrative expectations and environmental aesthetic. This distinction is going to change the way you think about writing forever. And here's why it matters now more than ever. Storytelling is evolving fast. Take Cowboy Bebop, a show that blends noir, western, sci-fi, cyberpunk, comedy, and drama seamlessly. Or Hell of a Boss, where black comedy meets romantic drama. Stories today are breaking free of traditional boundaries. Romantic comedies unfold in dystopian worlds. Mysteries happen in futuristic cities. And tragedies embrace absurd humor. Genre boundaries are dissolving and, honestly, it's exciting. On the surface, the rise of genre blending is amazing. Writers can experiment like never before, creating layered, dynamic, and fresh stories. Audiences get to experience new flavors of storytelling, where lighthearted moments meet heavy themes, or familiar tropes collide with bold new settings. And we're seeing opportunities for cultural fusion too. Just recently, I stumbled across a Netflix concept combining Chinese mysticism with Texas culture. It's wild. But here's the thing. Just because we can mix genres doesn't mean we can throw things together without care. Art requires craft. Crafting something great isn't about breaking the rules. It's about using them to create the effect you want. Mastery of craft means understanding the tools at your disposal and how to wield them. That's where I see a problem. The way we're taught about genre feels incomplete. It all starts with one big mistake. We treat genre like a monolith. There's a few reasons this happens. Genre has always been used as a convenient label, especially in marketing. When you walk into a bookstore or scroll through Netflix, you see those big broad terms like fantasy, romance, or mystery. They're useful for setting expectations, but they don't tell the full story. Then there's how genre gets reduced to cliches. Fantasy is dragons and magic, sci-fi is spaceships and tech. Instead of seeing genre as a flexible framework, we turn it into a checklist, which limits its potential. The way genre is taught doesn't help either. Schools, writing workshops, and even advice columns often treat genre as a single concept, lumping together narrative structure and setting into one bucket. It's no wonder genre feels like this rigid box we're supposed to fit into. The result is that genre gets treated as a one-size-fits-all expectation for storytelling, when, in reality, it's so much more nuanced. To me, genre isn't a fixed label. It's a lens. It's how we frame, interpret, and communicate life's complexities through storytelling. It organizes emotions, imposes structure, and provides context. That's why I say genre is the lens of life. Which brings me back to my opening statement. Genre isn't one thing, it's two. Think about it. If I say something is a mystery story, you know what the story will feel like, but not the setting. And if I say something is a fantasy, you'll have a clue as to what the world feels like, but it tells you absolutely nothing about the actual conflict or plot. In fact, I think this is one reason why those who start with fantasy tend to struggle. Regardless, to truly master storytelling, you need to split genre into two core dimensions: narrative genres and environmental genres. Let's start with narrative genres. These are all about what your audience expects to happen in your story. Take mysteries, for example. Every mystery sets a puzzle. There's a crime or an unknown event. It doesn't matter if it's set in Victorian London or a space station. Mysteries follow a certain structure because they're built around what audiences expect. That's what narrative genres do. They're the blueprint of your story. They define the beats, pacing, and emotional journey. Romance, that's about love and emotional tension, building to a satisfying resolution. Adventure, that's exploration and external challenges, testing resolve. Every narrative genre creates a structure that guides your story. Here's a list of the 10 core narrative genres that make up the blueprint. Romance, it's all about the development of a love relationship, building emotional tension to a satisfying resolution. Mystery, solving puzzles, uncovering secrets, and leading to a climactic reveal. Thriller/suspense, escalating tension, danger, and a ticking clock. Horror, which is designed to evoke fear and dread, usually ending in a confrontation with the unknown. Comedy, humor and levity, often resolving misunderstandings in an upbeat way. Drama, focused on realistic emotional conflict and moral dilemmas. Tragedy, downfall, loss, and fatal flaws. It's all about inevitability. Adventure, a journey with external challenges, assessing characters' resolve, crime, law breaking, strategy, and moral ambiguity, and coming of age, psychological and moral growth from youth to maturity. Notice what's not on this list? Things like action or fantasy. A lot of people think they're narrative genres, but they're not. They belong somewhere else, and I'll explain why. Action isn't a narrative genre because it's not a story structure. It's a pacing choice, a way of making events unfold with intensity and energy. You can layer action onto anything, a romance, a mystery, or even a drama. It's a flavor. Fantasy and sci-fi aren't narrative genres either. They're about the world your story takes place in, the setting, the tone, and the atmosphere. Case in point, romance can be set in a cyberpunk city, a high fantasy kingdom, or a dystopian wasteland. The beats of the story stay the same. The environment just changes how we experience it. That's where environmental genres come in. If narrative genres give you the blueprint of your story, environmental genres are the building materials. They shape where the story happens and how it feels, creating the world lens that frames the audience's experience. Picture a mystery set in a quaint English village. It feels cozy and full of charming tension. Now imagine that same mystery in a sprawling cyberpunk city, where neon lights and greedy urban chaos completely transform the tone. The structure of the mystery doesn't change, but the environment reshapes how it's experienced. This is the power of environmental aesthetics. They're not just a backdrop. They're the sensory and atmospheric framework for the story. Done right, the environment becomes an active participant, influencing how conflict unfolds and how the audience engages with themes. There are 8 environmental genres that define these lenses. Mythic, timelessly grand, full of magic and larger-than-life struggles. Futurist, speculative and innovative, driven by advanced technology. Historic, grounded in real-world or alternative pasts, evoking nostalgia. Realist, contemporary and relatable, grounded in everyday life. Horror, dark, unsettling, and foreboding. Dystopian, oppressive and cautionary, exploring societal collapse. Retropunk, stylish and imaginative, blending history with speculative tech. Ethnofuturist, vibrant and culturally rich, reimagining futurism through specific traditions. Each of these genres immerse the audience in a distinct atmosphere. A dystopian world emphasizes scarcity and control, while a mythic world thrives on magic and grandeur. The tone, the rules, and even the stakes of the story shift depending on the environment. Here's the big takeaway I want you to have. Environmental aesthetics frames the sensory and emotional world of the story. The eerie silence of a haunted house immerses the audience in fear, while sleek futuristic designs raise questions about humanity's future. Now, here's where things get fun. Once you separate narrative and environmental genres, the possibilities explode. You can mix and match to create something truly unique. A mystery in a retropunk setting, a heist in a gaslamp fantasy, a coming-of-age tale in a cyberpunk city. The combinations are endless. And by keeping these dimensions separate, you can blend them intentionally without losing cohesion. Now, I feel like this discussion wouldn't be complete without me touching on the myriad of subgenres within things with both narrative and environmental genres. If narrative genres are the blueprints of the story, and environmental genres are the building materials, subgenres are the details that bring it all to life. Think of them as the finishing touches, the stylistic and tonal overlays that give your story its unique identity. Now, they're subgenres because they don't change the structure or the setting. They refine them. They allow you to tailor your story's tone, mood, and thematic depth, creating something that feels personal and specific to your vision. For example, romance is still a romance at its core, but subgenres like enemies to lovers or forbidden love drastically shift the tone and stakes of the story. In horror, the graphicness or style can span from psychological terror to visceral gore. These subtle shifts personalize your story and give it a unique edge, allowing you to target a specific emotion and audience. The list goes on and on with all sorts of variants. And best of all, it makes it easier to blend narrative and environmental genres. For instance, combining romantic comedy, narrative, and cyberpunk, environmental, gives a fresh, genre-defining premise like Her. The possibilities this opens up are endless, and it helps you blend more and more in an efficient manner while keeping the control with you. So, That's my working theory of genre, splitting it into narrative and environmental dimensions. Does this framework help you better understand how to use genre in your stories? Try using it in your own writing. Pick a narrative genre, pair it with an environmental genre, and see what happens. Let me know in the comments how it works for you, or if you have any questions about this theory. I'd love to chat.